Yeah, cool. There we go. This one says that it's going to launch here on YouTube in 1 minute. So that's exciting. It says waiting for OpenTHC. As far as I can tell, I'm streaming, but I'm not live on YouTube so far. I'm only live on Twitch, but we'll see what that's doing. Hey, there we go. Now it's on YouTube. That is pretty dang awesome. So good job, me. And one of the other things I like to do once I start twitching is sort of announce to the world well, so the first thing I did, we're in PHP code, and we got a bunch of stuff here that we can see just isn't matching with it's just not matching the PSR4 stuff for all these things. And lots of this is for this legacy system we used to have to use that's called Leaf Data. So it's sort of unfortunate that it still is like in our way. And for a lot of this, it's really just about changing, the namespace on any of these things. Some of these don't even have any code in them, which is totally fine because this system, the Leaf Data one at least, it doesn't exist anymore. It sort of exists in Pennsylvania. It used to exist in Washington, but that is over. This is actually basic, and that says the word batch. This is what happens when you just get some stuff in a quick and dirty kind of way. So we're going to go through and just fix the namespace on a bunch of this. Kind of unfortunate that these things are inconsistent. I think for a lot of these empty ones, I'm just going to go ahead and remove them. We might have to clean those up. I'll tell you something that's going to make my life easier. Where am I under test? Let's find empty files. And they're all under Leaf Data. So what if I say find, Leaf Data empty? There's a bunch of those. All right, fine. Clean that shit up for me. And if I look here, we can see there's a bunch of deleted leaf data stuff. And that stuff's all cleaned up there. So we got that one. I'm going to say open. Whoops. Like I might have been putting in the wrong name too. It should be open THC Bunk Test Leaf Data Laboratory, OPEN. This is actually what our prefix should be. This one's not real. Too many backslashes. All right, let's save that without that backslash. Now I need the fucking backslash. Fuck you. So then this one becomes, yeah, this feels more better. And this is just to clean up our tedious old shit that, you know, we hardly even use this stuff anymore. And it might make sense actually to just throw it all in the trash because we, you know, just, there's very little likelihood of interfacing with leaf data ever again. But we do have some stuff here that, you know, used to exist and might still be dependent on some of this stuff working again. And so we went through and sort of re-architected what a bunch of namespace things in our whole world want to be from, you know, choices and decisions that were made, well, many, many, many years ago. You don't even have a fucking namespace. That's what you should be, and so should you. Not you. Not you. You. These all feel pretty okay. And sort of wish we had a little bit of a thing. It would be cool to. This one doesn't actually do anything. Delete. Collect, dry. Everybody under here should have this same one. You don't do anything. Never probably worked. Collect twice test. I do remember that. That's a nice feature to have from back in the day. Looks like these are all also loading up another test that maybe they won't be able to find, which is just another set of problems for us to deal with. This one ends with leaf data. Oh, you have the right namespace. That's awesome. So do you. 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 Or at least you feel like you do. MMEs. Oh my gosh, that was so silly. This one feels like it's pretty okay. And what we can do to test our work here is actually just run composer and use dump autoload and -a. And it says, oh, look, and it's going to barf out like a whole bunch of stuff. And this list is significantly shorter than our last one was. Let's see if there's anything specific to leaf data. Whoops, I need to say this 2 and 1. That's easier. So we have transfer to lag, plant collect dry, plant collect harvest batch zone. So that's pretty not that terrible. And the first one says it's in B2B. Create, commit, sample, quantity test. Does not comply. Oh, because my file name doesn't match. So we'll say rename, copy that name, don't do anything with it, and just save it. The next one is in plant delete undo. So this should be called plant delete undo. Oh, just plant delete undo. It doesn't have the word test at the end. That's not good. So that'll be another little bug. But again, since leaf data is the easiest one to clean up, we're just going to like get rid of the composer error messages and sort of be done with it until we ever need to run a test against leaf data ever again, which I feel like it's never going to happen. They're over. I mean, I guess what we could do is just delete the whole piece out, trash it all. But there's interesting stuff in that code, and it's, that was a fairly lightweight bit of work there to get it to work. And I can just say git add u test leaf data, and I got all that leaf data shit, loaded in there, just dandy. So there's a couple of other things we've done while we're working on tests. Like this neon file comes from somewhere else. There's some other stuff that we've got committed. But what we can do here is just say, let's just do a git commit on just what's under test leaf data. Let me do a double check here. Yeah, I feel like this is okay. We might get some other errors down the road when we run like the static analyzer or something, but we're in good shape. So I want to commit test leaf data only. So that looks good. That's all the stuff that's going to be committed. And we'll just say something like, whoops. That ought to do it. And let's just push that up to our favorite branch. That's that. Oh, yeah, that is related to a dependency that we used to have that we don't have anymore, and that we are going to go ahead and clean up, actually. What's up, Jeremy? That is pretty exciting. How's it going? I don't know if I missed you or not because I don't get a lot of dings when there's an alert. But what up? It's odd. Oh, man, this is my highest view count ever. It says I have 2 simultaneous viewers. This is fucking great. Anyway, better have some beer to celebrate. All right, that was a good time. So I think the composer lock. Well, let's just do the rest of this. Let's go back and chase down whatever other errors we're going to find in our autoload dumper, which is going to tell me about all the stuff that sucks. Metric transfer rejected. All right, so we'll move this over here. And we can like close out all this shit. All right. That's done. And then we go back to who's got my problem? Test. The first one on my list is test metric, J transfer, rejected test. Rejected this one. You hate this one. Oh, because you have no namespace at all. So it solves that problem. It now hates a system test, and we need to work these into we have a bunch of these now that are part of our common standard framework, and we should be using all of those instead of this. This should probably be coming from somewhere else. And actually, I happen to know some other things. We're not really caring about asserting this specific test anymore, but that is fine. My namespace here, and you're called base case. You should just be called base. And that fixes the second one. And then it looks like a bunch of stuff in lib biotrack. API employee test. So we can probably, this is testing the real, no, it's not testing the real stuff, but it shouldn't be called API. We can call it something else. So let's just get into our test directory, go into the biotrack directory. And while we're in here, we can look at a bunch of nonsense. Oh, this is called API room test, and this one is called section test. And I just know, we call shit section more frequently now. Plant room add, plant room modify, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know what happened with all this, but I do know what I can do is take all that shit out and then just get into this section room. This one. Put it in here, and then API room test, just delete you, get fucked. And what do you read about? Oh, because you have a setup, that's probably a duplicated function. That one says set up this, that one says set up something else. That's funny. We used to just have this dedicated interface way back in the day for just biotrack in Washington. That was this is some legacy stuff that we got merged in here from 2014. Fuck's sake, I'm 1,000 years old. Okay, that's section test. And looks like, make sure we know that shit's toast. Do want that one added. Let's look here again. Test a system test. I got these other fixes in here about test sh and test.php. I don't want to change I don't want to get those committed yet though. What are we doing different here? This is some ugly, stupid shit. I'm not going to get that one committed. Ugh. Oh, all right. So we do need test base added. And then biotrack inventory test. Those tests are unrelated to namespace, so I'm going to ignore them. But that one's definitely a namespace fix. I lost track of where I was, so let's just go back and run that composer dump auto load again. All right, so employee test is still shitty. Pretty small, has all this stuff. So let's just take all that, and actually we're going to call them a contact test. And there's a bunch of stuff there. So we'll add that one in there. Probably get an error on duplicate setup functions. So take that. Get up here. Do that. This THC is very deprecated, but move that in the right direction. All right, B2B one sale test. Ooh, boy, that is not that awesome. So get MV. This one has a terrible file name. So we'll just fix it that way. Now it's just called sale test, and it's in OpenTHC, Bunk, BioTrack, test, BioTrack, B2C, and it is just called sale test. And I think that is going to make my system happy about that one. What do we got next? WA employee test. See you in hell. Get RM employee test. So that's that. And then these are namespace fixes, purging files, moving functions, your rename, your removal. Oops, better add this one. And I think we gotta add contact test. The other stuff that's there is it's not done, so that's fun. Back to dumping my autoloader. I got Patrick Plant Destroy, which needs to be open, THC, Bunk, test, BioTrack, Plant. Vehicle test. BioTrack basic. Looks like we're going to have a similar problem in zone test. And zone test, it is called zone test. That looks good. Who else is left? Test. Oh, yours should be called destroy. Test. Vehicle should be called vehicle test. And what's this thing about BioTrack main? BioTrack main. What the fuck is this? Yeesh. Oh, BioTrack response. BioTrack response located in this bullshit is my faker of a Slim piece we need. This thing's all powered by Slim 3 and compatible back to like an older version of PHP. And here we wanted to send back, I wanted to JSON pretty print the whole thing every time. So I had to do this little wrapper on the Slim response. And I think actually we have one of these that's now moved up to the to our common library that we use. And this is, I see, all the routines passed. I remember this in a minute. This is all the routines pass through this thing to, basically route themselves. This is a shit hack of a router to do this kind of thing. And then we do success 0 unhandled if we get way down here. And these first three are like BioTrack things, and we had been telling ourselves we're going to do an OpenTHC specific one. And we put an @ symbol in there. I forget exactly why we did that @ symbol versus other things. But now these all become different details, sort of back at 500. That seems really nice to me. I like to also make it have all of those options? I have an idea. Options will be 0. Ops is equal to ops ORed with all the rest of my stuff. So you will never be able to turn them off. Pretty happy about that. All right, cool. But that's in a bad location. So let's go into our lib directory. Let's go into lib biotrack and touch a file there. Oh, I can't see what I'm doing. I go into lib biotrack. Touch response.php, get add response.php. Then we get to go back here and we grab this thing. And this is going to be a new OpenTHC Bunk biotrack response. And I go to lib biotrack response. Just paste this shit in there. Let's add some stuff up there. So let's just see if that fixes our problem with Composer, and go back here and then run Composer, dump autoload A, boom, that's looking really nice. Hey, that is great. You know what we should do? None of these guys got any license identifiers up there, but we do want to make sure that we're applying the right license identifier, at least to all of these things. That's all we want to do. Close that one up, close that one. Test for biotrack. That one's got it. Some of these have no notes on what they're supposed to do, but you know, one problem at a time, right? So now we got a bunch of stuff that's sort of changed. Biotrack response. I ran Composer auto load. And then if we just go through and get a diff here, got some fucking noise. This is some stuff on how it's going to handle the biotrack, but we're working on one commit at a time. Oh, okay. So we clean this one up. Got to get it added. Oops. Inventory room add. That's not a fix that's related. Not a fix that's related to the current set of fixes. That's not related. That's not related. This one is, because I feel like I remember changing that file already. Vehicle test. This one's definitely in the running. I'm just using a little notepad here to keep track of the shit that we got to like get refixed. That's a bigger test. That's a bigger test. This one's another just namespace fix. Here, this is related to us changing how the test runner goes, so that's a good time. And then this one, correct some links. This one is something we should do independently, but we'll come back to that one. And okay, that's everything in the state we want it to. Let's do that. Still looks good. All right, I'm cool. I'm happy about that. Whoops. So now the namespace for that BioTrack shit. There we go. Now I want to get rid of that Dependabot bullshit, and let's just take a look at that thing real quick and see what it tells me. Oh, I don't have an account authenticated to see it with. Twig has. This is related to Twig, and we used Twig for a long time, but we stopped using Twig. I'm not entirely sure how long ago we stopped using Twig. But it's been a minute. And we just haven't gotten the composer lock file committed on this one. So we can just say add composer lock, git commit, update deps. Just do a push on that one. And so now we should probably stop seeing that one anymore. Yeah, and here it is. Twig has the sandbox bypass. Now it shows that it's fixed. I'm in good shape. Metric error cases and some stuff about metric in my queue. Good times. All right, so let's throw that node away. Don't need that page anymore. So what else is going on with Bunk? I have changed the application version. All of our apps start off with version 420, because we're like jokers who don't take anything seriously ever. Just make sure to tell that to your boss to keep them scared. 420, 24, 242, or 262, those versions don't match. So we just did a big fix, and that was fun, and a bunch of stuff works now. Oh, but let's fix our test runner too. So we had been dependent on a shell script as our test runner. And here is what it sort of looks like here. And then it would declare some things that it could try to figure out. And then it would try to run these shell wrappers around stuff. But these are getting like tedious, and they're part of our common library, and they can get out of date, which is a problem that happens to lots of things. But then, it's sort of getting towards the edge of where you'd want to be with a shell script. They're not designed to be robust and used for long periods of time and get complicated there. You want to wrap 7 things that works the same way every time, shell script. After that, upscale to a language of some type that is better. Our environment is already loads and loads of PHP, so that means we move from shell up to PHP. If we were Python or Ruby or something else, we would upscale from shell scripts into those environments, because we would just know that they're already exist and set up for us. So we do this silly thing. Here's our test runner with this one. It does some things, knows how to take some other commands, etc. It runs a bunch of stuff. And what was nice was part of our common library, we were able to create stuff like a facade for running PHP lint. What looks like we're working on a CPD, copy-paste detector one. Here's a nice little facade that wraps PHP stan and knows how to put the output in the right location. Looks like we're working on maybe integrating Psalm or Psalter. And here's where we do a PHP unit. The facade doesn't work, so we are constructing a command, a thing that looks like a bunch of command arguments, and then you actually pass those arguments into the PHP unit text UI command runner. Pass in the arguments, run the thing, and get a nice result back. This is actually pretty handy. I think we're working to put that into the facade, transform the XML when you're done, do some output. This is a common routine we like for making our output, and then tell the people where we've published it. So that's kind of fun, and then we can do that, and we can just say run test. Now it'll probably shit like all over the place. I don't think that it is working. Ooh, that's not so good. Fucked up everything. But that's not to worry. Web root test. root output. Test report. All I have is a PHP stand report. Path bunk bin does not exist. So what did it shit the bed there and just like stopped? That sucks for me. So what if we just say make their bin? Try it again. Still shit the bed. Still a small amount of stuff. View does not exist. All right, that's cool because it doesn't, but I wish that PHP stan is the one who's giving me that problem. So we should get into common and make common aware of like bin or the other thing possibly, not working, not being present, so they don't try to run them. What is that? PHP stan? Yeah, I see. PHP stan assumes that these things are always going to be present. Bootstrap files. Put a little fix there into PHP stand, but that looks like we got stuff. I got a PHP stand output. What do you think he's saying? Everything sucks. What's funny though is why didn't the rest of the stuff execute? PHP lint. I should have got some output from PHP lint. CPD, I know you're not running. Res text execute, you did run. If empty start filter, res run. So you should have got this far and you should have told me something like test success or something. could not read test PHP unit.xml. Oh, yes. That's the other thing we did. In our test directory, we removed everybody to PHP unit.xml.dist. And then I think we're doing this right. We're ignoring test PHP unit.xml. Some of these are smart enough that they run a different, they compare and see, oh, should I just run the dist one, whatever? PHP unit.xml.dist to PHP unit.xml. So now we should get slightly farther. I can't even sign in. Yeah, now we're cooking. Failed to open base case. So we got a big problem with just base case. And then the rest of it's like shitting all over the place. So that's cool, but I wonder where base case is referenced. And this part is working so far that we have the test runner running in the new way, doing all this stuff. Find web root output. I don't know why I don't have anything from PHP lint, but I'm going to come back to that one. PHP stand.neon. So that file's been removed because of things. But what is it missing out on? I had all those. I know all those. I know all those. I know all those. I know all those. That's cool. This is part of our common library, so we don't need that one anymore. Now we have that dist file. I don't know if I want to do anything with that dist file quite yet. What were we just trying? Oh, base case. Nobody can find base case. Oh. Lots of our projects have gotten rid of the bootstrapper file in test. And you know what? We're going to do that here too. We do not need to bootstrap any of those. And then in this.dist, my bootstrap file is not here, but is up one directory. And we better go to the live one here and say that too. And so now we're getting somewhere. Test metrics. So test metrics, CSRS, and BioTrack. These bases, you don't actually, that's not somebody who's real. Bunk test base is the thing. Bunk test base. Bunk test base. And actually, all of you guys are just base cases for something else. So you should be moved somewhere else. I wonder how many people reference metric test. It should be, I think it really should all be test metric base. So let's reorg these files a little bit while we're in here. It's not necessarily related to the runner moving, but it's a nice thing to do. Oops. And see, all of these ones, they are they don't have any of their own test cases. They don't actually do any testing. They just have like helper functions, assistant functions, stuff like this. So, and now that we've changed their like namespace and their paths a little bit, we're going to have another big problem. But let's see if Composer can help with this. Composer dump auto load -a. It's happy about everybody, but guess what? We just renamed something CCRS test. Come on, fingers. Look at all you guys. And you're inheriting that class, and it doesn't even exist anymore. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we should we could do act-l CCRS test. Let's try this. sed-s swag CCRS underscore test. I'm going to replace that with CCRS base globally. And let's just try it in variety test. Look at our output. You've done it. You've done a fantastic job. act-l CCRS test under that directory. xargs sed-i. Whoopsie. Sed-i just this far. And if we look at this DS, see we're just fixing a bunch of namespace names there. I feel like it's not entirely related to the runner. You know? And what's in here? I'm not sure if that's everything I need to do. I'm going to say that it's good enough. So I got some shit that's conflicting with each other. They're stepping on each other's toes now with all these changes. Let's clean up. So the test runner runs. We have a namespace problem sort of again, or, we bumped it and we're going to clean it up some more. And so we will just go through that process and fix the runner first, and then do the second pass on, do the namespaces. So that means I need the fix for test sh, the fix for test boot, the test for my PHP neon, my distribution file, and my new test.php. Get that out of the way, because now all I have to deal with is metric test. Let's just see. Is it always nice at the end of the thing? That is the only match we have. So we can do a very similar replacement for here, except now it's act-l metric test sed-r metrc test metrc/base global. Should be good. Damn, that's a lot of shit. Well, like they say, be like that sometimes. So Now we just kind of got to page through all of these to make sure the only thing we're doing is, changing these test cases, changing these lines about just the namespace fixes, which looks like that's what we got going on. So I'm happy about that. Although there's one more. Biotrack test. And it's across a lot of files too. Biotrack test, biotrack test, biotrack base. Fuck's sake. That should do it. Add the stuff. And now we only have some weird shit. This one has some weird changes. In addition to the namespace changes. I don't understand them. I don't want to commit them as part of this. So we do a reset head on that one. Whoops. And then I do a DS again. We just go down this list. Yep, here's another one that is inventory test. Post JSON inventory check, samples blank, sample ID with a bogus number. I'm going to keep it. This one commented something out. Oh, no, Matt restored this one. Good job. The rest of this all looks pretty clean. That's the file rename. That's the file rename. Metric test is a rename with no. Oh, no, there's a small change. The rest of this, all looks okay. All looks reasonably good here. Better than we were before. And let's just try to run the test runner one more time and see what it does. Oh, thank you, Mystery Killer. Test complete. You didn't give me the deets. That is because you are having no fucking config file. So in the Etsy directory, which is common for our projects, we do a config file. Usually it's not committed. A lot of times we have an example. Config equals array, return config when we're done. CFG OpenTHC is an array, and CFG open THC bunk equals origin and bunk.openthc.example.com. Oh my gosh. My fingers are too big for this. We have an internal testing piece that we get to use. On our own dev environment. I'll just change it to that. And so that way the next time I dump the thing out, it should look okay. There's our test report. Why are you thinking that it could possibly be French? Anyway, I'm not French. Here's our reports from different things. That one has not found. That one's not found. I don't know why the linter's not running. So there's another thing to chase down. PHP stan is very mad. Very mad. And that's fun. And then PHP unit, you have a bit of a problem. Test auth fail, curl handler shit the bed. Fair enough. And I think it's configured to just stop when it stops. Here's test docs. Test docs are nice. They look all cleaned up. Now, the other thing is webroot output test report php unit.html is got this vendor bootstrap blah blah blah, which is not part of our build process. Whoops, vendor bootstrap. What file did it want? I think it was bootstrap this, vendor bootstrap. I think that should do it, so that when we open this file and this file, oh, they look nice. We use the bootstrap theme, if you can even imagine. Obj list, this is great. Add is great. No return type specified. Res might not be defined. Oh, this is fantastic. Static analysis for the win. 1,818 failures. And then this one failed the first time, so that's an easy fix too. We go into PHP unit. Stop on error, true. Stop on failure, false. Stop on risky, false. And then we come back. We go and run. Oops. We go and run test again. And let this bad MF grind it for a little while. That's wrong, but it feels so right. You only ran one test and then you shit the bed. I wonder why you did that. I told you to do everything. You know, maybe it considered that other thing an error. So let's say false. Don't stop for any reason, man. Just fucking go. Let's fucking go already. Test all the things is the words that we used to say. I'm going to go into the test runner and I'm just going to hack out something here real quick. I do not want to wait for PHP stand to go, and I do not want to wait for the linter to run. I want to just go straight to PHP unit. So let's kick this MF out again. Little test runner has a helper so that it cleans up these files while it's, running, so it doesn't leave those artifacts around. All right, how far did this one get? Tests 196. That's what I'm fucking talking about. 196 errors. That's kind of shitty. Biotrack 79 tests. That sounds pretty good. They all seem to be related to a URL config. Metric seems to be related to, fantastic, it's another URL config issue. That's what all of them are. So that's actually a pretty good jam session. I'm probably going to be back like tomorrow or the next day, jamming a little bit more on these test cases for this Bunk feature. So sweet biotrack, sweet metric. I don't have a suite for CCRS for some reason. And here's where I have one commented out for leaf data. Again, leaf data being, I would say, we could consider them very, very dead. Although MJ Freeway did recently have, their company recently sold to, I think it was All Leaves. And I think they may be having the contract in Utah still, and they may still be having the action in Pennsylvania. What did we change here? All right, put the linter back. I don't know why my linter's not giving me an output file. I kind of wish that it was. So one thing we can do is, I think this runs the step debugger. So I can do this. 9082. don't know if that's the right port. Yeah, I think you actually need to be on 9074. See if we can't get a debugger attached. And then go into my lint facade. There we go. Yeah, okay. Autoloader. You construct yourself. That's fantastic. Now you execute yourself, or you do your thing. Okay, cool. For each path list as thing. If is dir. I'm just echoing bullshit. That's why it's not producing the file. I see. All right, well, we're going to have to fix that. But we did at least get to the bottom of it. That's grand. Sweet CCRS. Ooh, baby. Now we're getting somewhere. We got another suite and another suite. We're actually going to have to create 2 new suites. There is different versions of the BioTrack API. BT, basically BT 2014, and then these other ones that they released whose year I can't remember at the moment. I'll have to dig and find it out. And then now we're in 2024, but like last year, BT put out a new API and a new set of docs, which looks very nice. Thank you guys for BioTrack Florida. It's also what they're going to be using BioTrack New York. Some people have called it BioTrack version 2, but there's another API that's actually called V2 and another one that's called V3. This is one of the reasons we use just like a general year stamp for the general major version of the thing. So BT 2014, BT 20-something, another 20-something, and then BT 2023 is the Florida, New York freshest versions. Metric has also done the similar thing to us. There's a Metric 2015 API, Metric's version 1, and now Metric has a version 2 API, different rules, different blah, which they started launching also in 2023. So there's like BioTrack 2023, Metric 2023. Maybe come back the next time and I'll be going through how to fix up these test cases and what running these test cases against these systems is for, what we would end up actually doing on a thing like that. Yeah, so that's it for today. Appreciate everyone who stopped by. So thanks. Maybe I will see you later on the internet. Thanks.